Hi, my name is Patrick Reagan. The video, Introduction to Computers, Part 4, Introduction to Software, introduces you to software including operating systems, device drivers, firmware, BIOS, and application software. Now that we have mostly talked about hardware, let's focus a little bit on software. Software, known as program or application, is a series of instructions that are loaded in the computer's memory, which tell the computer what to do and when to do it. It is these instructions that tell the computer how to manipulate data. System software is designed to provide a platform for other software, and it directs the entire computer. System software includes operating systems and compilers. Compilers are programs to convert programming languages into machine code that is understood directly by the computer. Compilers are primarily used by programmers, also known as software developers. The primary software that a computer runs is the operating system. The operating system supports a computer's basic functions, such as scheduling tasks for the computer to perform, execute applications, and control peripherals. The kernel is the central part of the operating system that connects the hardware and the application being used. It provides basic services for all other parts of the OS and is always resident in computer memory. In most systems, the kernel is one of the first programs loaded on startup and will handle the rest of the computer startup. It enables multiple applications and tasks to share hardware resources by providing access to CPU, memory, disk I/O, and networking. For example, you can have your browser open while visiting several websites. At the same time, you have an Excel spreadsheet and a PowerPoint presentation open while you're listening to music on your computer. The kernel mode is the most protected part of this software. For example, an application cannot talk directly to the hardware. To control what the application can talk to, the application has to go through the operating system kernel. The operating system also provides a user interface so that you can interact with the operating system. For example, in Windows, it provides the desktop and its icons, and it provides File Explorer to manage files. Today, most operating systems such as Microsoft Windows or Apple Mac OS provide a graphical user interface or GUI consisting of pictures, buttons, and icons to operate. The GUI was developed because there's always a steep learning curve when learning the command line interface. Typically, the GUI operating systems are considered user-friendly and tend to be more intuitive. Other operating systems are command-driven, where you type in the commands to operate. So knowing the commands, the various options that you have to include with the command, and knowing if you need to use uppercase and lowercase make command-driven operating systems more difficult to learn. For example, if you wanted to delete the filename.txt file, you would type in del filename.txt. An operating system can be designed to run single tasks or multiple tasks. Even if the processor only had one processor core, today's processors can look like they're running multiple programs at the same time by carving up the time for each application. It does this by switching between the application very quickly so that it looks like you have multiple applications running at the same time. Fortunately, today we have multiple processor cores so that it can literally run multiple programs at the same time. Besides multitasking, today's modern operating systems can support multiple users. For example, Microsoft Windows Server or Linux can allow multiple users to log in remotely and do different tasks at the same time. As of January 2025, almost 73% of all personal computers are running Windows operating systems by approximately 14% Apple Mac OS. Linux and Chrome OS almost make up 6%, and the rest is other operating systems or unidentified. Firmware is the type of software that is etched directly into the piece of hardware. It gives you the most basic instructions to the hardware. Firmware is stored on read-only memory chips or ROM chips so they do not get erased by accident. If the firmware instructions are not available, the system will not function. You can think of the firmware as the instincts of the computer where it provides instructions so it knows how to do the most basic functions. The BIOS is a type of firmware found on the motherboard. BIOS is short for Basic Input-Output System. It can also be known as System BIOS, ROM BIOS, or PC BIOS. The BIOS is the first software that a computer runs when powered on, even before the operating system. It tells the computer which drive to boot from and how to talk to the most essential hardware, including memory and disk. Since hardware can greatly vary between manufacturers and models, you may need to add additional device drivers to the operating system. Device drivers is a special kind of software that controls and communicates with a specific hardware device. It is a pluggable software component that bridges the gaps between the hardware device and the operating system. The operating system usually includes a long list of common device drivers, including those for video cards, mice, keyboards, hard drives, speakers, and microphones, just to name a few. But if the operating system does not have a driver for a specific device, you may need to install the device driver manually. Application software is software that extends the capabilities of the computer by providing instructions that are not included with the operating system. They can include a word processor, spreadsheet, media player, accounting software, or a game. Some popular applications include Microsoft Office, Google Workspace, Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Photoshop, Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Microsoft Teams, and Zoom. Microsoft Office includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Question: what part of the operating system is the central part of the operating system that can talk directly to the hardware and controls what applications can talk to? Answer: the kernel. Remember, the kernel mode is the most protected part of the software. For example, an application cannot talk directly to the hardware. To control what the application can talk to, the application has to go through the operating system kernel. Question: how does a single core processor run multiple programs at the same time? Answer: it switches between applications very quickly so that they look like they're running at the same time. Question: what is a special kind of software that allows the operating system to talk to a device? Answer: device driver. While the operating system knows how to talk to the central hardware, the operating system uses device drivers to talk to other devices. Question: what kind of memory is firmware located on? Answer: read-only memory. Question: what kind of firmware is on the motherboard that tells the computer which drive to boot from and how to talk to the most essential hardware? Answer: BIOS. For more information, visit these sites. In summary, the operating system supports a computer's basic functions such as scheduling tasks for the computers to perform, execute applications, and control peripherals. The kernel is the central part of the operating system that connects the hardware and the application being used. Firmware is a type of software that sets directly into the piece of hardware so it knows how to do the most basic actions. Firmware is stored on read-only memory chips or ROM chips. BIOS is an acronym for Basic Input-Output System. It is the first software that a computer runs when powered on. It tells the computer which drive to boot from and how to talk to the most essential hardware, including memory and disk. Device driver is a special kind of software that controls and communicates with the special hardware device. Application software is software that extends the capabilities of the computer by providing instructions that are not included with the operating system. Thank you for watching this video. This completes the Introduction to Computers series of videos. The next set of videos will be parts of the computer. If you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel. Thank you.